Right, little weird tip, and something that we must get a million questions over all the time, is plumbing up on slopes. And so it's something I've mentioned a lot with fishing on really, really steep inclines. And the general consensus is that people try and avoid them. I mean, people are always looking for these mythical flat spots that exist down the edge. And for me, if I'm completely honest, when it comes to carp fishing in particular, I want it not ridiculously steep, but I will pick a slope every single time above a flat bottom, because they're so much easier to catch if you can get them feeding on the slope. But what you have got to do is incorporate a few different things into plumbing mainly, so a little bit of feeding as well, to make sure you get the most of it. And that's what I want to talk about. And so what we've done, budged it a little bit, you know what I mean, we're off the box and we're stuck.
Social distancing plumbing up, isn't it, Jay?
We
you know
are proper social
distancing.
distancing. But no, just for camera angles and so we can show you better, it's so much easier doing it on a top kit instead of going to a far bank where I can't necessarily see exactly what I'm seeing. So down here I can show you exactly what I'm on about.
You've got your glasses and you can't see the float full stop, man.
To be fair, I have put them on. I can't see nothing yet, but there's a blare down there, so that'll do. So what I've got down the edge here is the perfect sort of example of a ridiculously steep bottom. And what I'm getting there is, once I pick my spot, if I literally move 2 inches to the right, I mean, I'm probably getting another 6 inches of depth. So it's a really, really steep incline. And I'll come a bit further this way so you can see the same.
No,
a really steep
within
incline.
like 8 inches, isn't it, Jay?
Yeah, it's massive. Do you know what I mean? It's a real steep slope. That's, you know what I mean, you'd plumb up on that, and most of the time you go, oh no, I can't present on that.
Just put shallow rigs on, folks.
Yeah, just fish shallow. But, so this is something that our beloved cameraman, if anything, has put into my head when it comes to carp fishing, is how much, not easier, but how much more readily they want to feed on a slope compared to a flat bottom. When you have a flat bottom, the fish can sort of, the up end, the big fat bellies like mine get in the way, and they're not looking at what they're feeding on because it's sort of underneath the chin, because they've got the belly down and they're feeding. When you're fishing on a slope, the bait's right in front of them. I mean, when the fish comes in from the lake outside there, it's looking at your bait straight away instead of having to upend, and it can just make it a little bit difficult to catch because they're not looking at your bait, whereas if it's in front of you, they're taking your individual bait.
It also has the benefit when it's really silty as well, isn't it, in that flat bottom? Yeah, you know, the bait's gone all, they can't see anything, can you?
Definitely. It's always smooth, there's no debris there, is there, because it's on a lovely hard slope. So it just makes things so much easier. But, so what I'm after first is when I plumb, let me talk about the actual plumbing thing before we go into the feeding, is when it comes to picking my spots, it's a simple case of being stupidly accurate. Yeah, so literally there, you can just see if I move it, it just keeps dropping. So there's no flat spot. I mean, it's an absolute mess if I'm honest trying to plumb up in the gradients all over the place. But if I can just pick a spot there, so where it's touching there, that I know there, my rig's pretty much dead depth. Yeah, so what I'll do is I'll look down the bank and pick a far bank marker or a near bank marker. So in this case, I'll be looking at a twig that's further along. And that exact point of the twig and my pole as well is where I know that it's dead depth. Yeah, I wouldn't want to be a bit further out because it's going to go. And again, I wouldn't want to be a bit closer in because I'll be too much line on the bottom.
We stress this all the time on the coaching day, don't we? Because a lot of our coaching on Snake Lakes, folks, obviously the slope, near side and obviously far side, and even like down to a blade of grass, you've got to get on it.
You've got to be.
I like using buttercups, mate, this time of year.
Do you?
Yeah, buttercups and daisies.
Pick a nice yellow buttercup.
That will do, yeah.
But yeah, it's small accuracy. Small markers make you more accurate, don't they?
100%.
Rather than picking a peg, you pick, like Andy says, that bit of grass going in the edge. It makes things more accurate. So that's the first thing. I've got me trap set, me rig set, sorry. Next is, that's then important to me, shotting. Yeah, I've spoke about this loads and loads of times. In creating a curve.
Gonna say it's not the traditional bulk that you'd have in that depth, is it?
Not because it's a slope.
Right.
Because the fish can potentially get behind my float, so I don't want to bulk. And by having a bit of a curvy rig, I mean a bit of a spread out bulk, that's actually going to curve sort of down the slope a little bit. So my rig's going to be pulled into the slope. It's not going to be dead straight. My rig's sort of going to be at that sort of angle, probably a bit like that if we're picking it up nice. That allows me to keep a tight line to my hook bait, which is also really, really important when it comes to choosing hook baits. That in this case, if I'm, like I say, if I'm dead depth there and it sits nice, if I can choose a hook bait that'll sink that float, then what I can do is I can put it into the deeper water and I can just edge it up the bank so it gets to about here, and then I'll see my float actually hold. Do you know what I mean? It'll hold on the bottom nice sort of there without sinking my float.
Yeah.
So it's a bit heavier there because I'm trying to hold it with a plummet, so that's going down a bit easier.
So you're talking big baits like, you know, a big expander maybe, or corn, something heavy that will
something that registers.
Float. Yeah, I like that.
I mean, no place for maggots, no place for expander pellets, little ones.
Yeah.
So it's not going to register on my pellet, register on my float. I want it to be able to pull it down. Yeah, it just means that it's another aspect that helps me be as accurate as possible. I mean, my bait's showing up and it's telling me that my bait is on the bottom because my float hasn't sunk, but at the same time, it's not sitting really high. So I know I've got that lovely tight line happening, which helps me see bites better.
Talk through the main thing as well, Jay, the plummet as well. That's massive. A lot of anglers get it wrong to light a plummet, aren't they?
Huge, yeah. Yeah, well, I use the same ones all the time. I use 20 grams with a decent bottom.
Yeah.
I mean, you want to, the flatter the bottom without going silly, the better you can sort of read it on the bottom. If you have a very, very narrow gauge base to your plummet, it rolls easier, doesn't it?
Tip over, don't they? Then you're always getting a wrong,
a little bit messy
reading.
Yeah, definitely. I wouldn't even thought of that. I like that one.
Yes, mate.
The right plummet just helps it stick a bit more on that slope. So the last thing, and the reason why I like it so much, is fishing on a slope. Why I choose that instead of a flat is because what happens to me bait? Yeah, on an incline, your bait's never going to settle. So I can feed a little bit of bait there in the right way. I mean, I'd always feed micro pellets or ground bait loose, so it sits on the slope. I'd never feed it into ball because it'll roll off. But what it allows, if you can just get it to settle nicely on that slope, just by feeding it slightly to the left of my flow, or tighter in than my flow, uphill if you like, you can get that bit of bait to fall down. As soon as the fish comes in and sucks that up and my hook bait, I've got a clean peg. So you find that you end up with a very clean area that you get bites on very, very quickly because there's no build up, and it washes it all further down the slope and just makes them bites happen so much quicker. I mean, and keeps your peg controlled because you've not got bait wafting all over the place and making a mess of it. But yeah, them few little tips, hopefully that'll make fishing on your slopes a little bit easier.
Sorry for lurking in the background, folks. I couldn't do it any other way, though.
It's a social distance and still being employed, isn't it?